Hey, Jeanette here. I wanted to address some questions that I keep getting here. So, I am a 25-year career sales professional and a licensed hypnotherapist. What does that mean to you, right? So, I handle problems that you may actually encounter in your everyday life and just give you some tips on how to manage them. For example, there's a lot of women out there who feel like they either shouldn't be angry or aren't angry or don't know how to be angry because we're never taught to be angry. So if you're in a relationship with a woman or you are a woman or identify as female, this may be useful to you. So a lot of times we find ourselves in situations where we are told that we need to show up and be nice and smile and be good, and then don't understand the feelings of frustration that bubble up when we're not able to be our authentic selves. Now, I think anybody would say that if there's a part of personality that has to be suppressed in order for other people to be comfortable, that would be frustrating, right? If you weren't allowed to have opinions of your own, that would be frustrating. But instead of understanding the anger as a sign that your boundaries as a human being are being crossed, what women have been taught to do is to push that away and push it down. So to not react out of anger, not feel anger, or just ignore the feeling altogether so that you show up and, as the nice girl, as it were. So how can I help with these situations? So having had a background in psychology and training in therapy, and also this lengthy career in sales, I can tell you there are a number of situations that have come up for me over the years of my career where anger was a problem, right? Certainly doesn't help get one further up the chain if you continue to react and overreact to situations. But as Taylor Swift said, men react, women overreact, I think is what the quote was. So it can be interpreted as a woman overreacting when she's simply expressing the normal frustration of having boundaries crossed. So as an example, let's say that you're show up for work and are automatically expected to effectively babysit the younger employees, show them the ropes or show them where things are or help them out, whereas the men in the room are too busy doing their job, right, to be bothered with that. Or if you're asked to organize social events, bring the bagels to the meetings, just make sure that people are taken care of. A lot of times women are put in these roles and aren't asking to do them, or my favorite will be the bagel bringer by default because none of the other guys in the room are going to do it. Now, why is this important to address, right? It's just a bagel. It's just showing somebody how to do something. It's just taking a few minutes of your time. Well, a few minutes of your time over and over and over add up. And it feels frustrating. It feels stifling. It feels like, why do I have to do this work for free? But society says to women, if you can help, you should for free. So we end up really pissed off, right? It looks like everyone else is sort of getting by, skating by, doing the same work that we're doing, but also not having to put in additional effort. And we wonder why we're angry. Now, what would it be useful to you to work with someone like me? Well, traditionally, a therapist would tell you, do some deep breathing, maybe have some conversation with your inner child, set good boundaries, and, do a lot of conscious work. But fundamentally, if you really do believe that you're not worth the same amount as your male counterparts, or that this is women's work and so you have to do it, then those fundamental beliefs are going to get in the way of you actually making those boundaries and keeping them. The fundamental belief that you aren't allowed to be angry when your boundaries are crossed is going to prevent you from maintaining them. It's going to prevent you from showing up as the person with boundaries. It's going to prevent you from saying, no, I've done enough. And that's the problem, isn't it? How do we learn how to say no? Sometimes what will happen is you learn to set a boundary, you learn to say no, and suddenly your boundary is like acres and acres and acres away from any human civilization. Like nobody can get near you, right? The fence is so far off in the distance, you can barely see that little like white line that is your boundary. Because it has to be that far away because you don't really know how yet to enforce it. You're learning the skill set. You're learning how to say no, but no may sound really loud and really forceful and really angry. And that's because that's the only no that you know how to do right now. You're sort of toddler stage, right? You're like, no, I'm not doing anything. When you first learn how to say no, first set your boundaries, those are things that can happen because you're practicing, because it's unfamiliar. Now, you have had neurons firing a particular pattern for most of your adult life that say yes, be good, be nice, smile. And when you stop doing those things, the pathways in your brain sort of can freak out a little bit. They're like, wait, we're supposed to say yes. We're supposed to be nice. We're supposed to smile. And now you're telling us we can't do those things. We don't understand. Your brain might have a little mutiny. So consciously setting boundaries and practicing is really useful. Now, that's what a traditional therapist will tell you. What I do that might be a little different and more useful and quicker and more effective is we take away that belief system that you are only worthy of being the nice one, the one who smiles, the one who says yes, the one who brings the bagels, the one who takes care of everyone. We remove that belief system that that's your worth, because it's kind of been operating on the background like your old iPhone. It says, just keep your outdated operating system and the machine runs slower and slower and slower, right? But once we update the operating system and say, no, we no longer need to hold those beliefs, then you get to say, oh, okay, it's not a problem for me to say no. My boundary can be really close. I can let people get really, really close and just say, no, I'm not doing that today without feeling guilt, shame, or anger, right? Because no one needs those burdens. So once you get to the fundamental belief system that's underneath all of that junk and just reframe it and flip it, you can move on without having to consciously practice these really difficult skills that you have to learn if you've never set a boundary, you never said no. So underneath all of this real anger that women have are these they're continually barraged with requests for their time and energy and they're expected to do them for free. So that would make anyone angry. A lot of times we think of women who are in their 40s and beyond who don't really care, right, what people think. I don't know that it's that. I really don't know. If you feel like you're approaching menopause and you're feeling pissed off, it's probably not just your hormones. It's probably a lifetime of saying yes to everything and smiling and nodding and being kind and the good one, right? You're probably done. We all have a limit. And maybe women just hit that limit in our 40s and say, no, thank you. I don't need that kind of behavior anymore. And that's when there can be a stereotypical sort of perimenopausal woman who is not nice. The lady in Fried Green Tomatoes who takes the younger girl's car spot. She said, I'm older and I've got better insurance or whatever she says. Like, that's sort of a stereotypical societal view of a woman who is aging. It's not nice to us, right? Not kind to us at all. But the reason that she's that angry they're all very good reasons for being angry. Being forced into a box for your whole life, and then finally getting tired of being in the box. So anger can come in many forms, and it's not necessarily bad for you. Typically, what I tell my clients is that anger is just your response from your nervous system that's saying, hey, I don't like that. Don't do that anymore. Don't let that person do that to you. That's all it is. It's an alert system. Just like you have alert systems for when you're thirsty, when you have to go to the bathroom, when you have, to eat something. There are alert systems. Your body's telling you, mind is saying, hey, go fix this problem. Anger is the same way. It's saying, hey, go fix this problem. Don't let them walk all over you. So if you're a woman and you're, at any phase in your life and you feel that you have to either deal with anger, don't know what to do with it, as it's coming from nowhere, or you don't know how to be angry, hopefully this series is useful to you, because there are lots of times in our lives where anger is perfectly appropriate and we're allowed to express that emotion and be whole human beings. I hope that was useful.